listeners. It's time to dust off your starter jackets, rip off those tearaways, and blow into your game cartridges. I'm Sam Blanford.
I'm Sean Kelly.
I'm Simon Blanford.
And we wish it was the 90s. Well, welcome back, listeners, to our Final Fantasy playthrough.
Sam, I want to interrupt you right from the start here. And having done my first proper listen through of the podcast, I've come to a horrible conclusion. We are the Turks of Final Fantasy VII podcasting.
Who are you?
Clearly, I am, with this dome that the listeners can't see, I'm rude. He's the bald one, right?
It's the ultimate insult there. Absolute ultimate insult. And correct.
Sorry, Sam, as you were.
No, I want to explore this further. Why are we the Turks?
listening to us bumble our way through trying to work what happened in that flashback. Reno, even points out that no one wants to hear this, but we soldier on.
Hey, well, we've got something great for the listeners first up.
Yeah.
Shall we get cracking straight into Nibelheim? Last time we left off, we were just leaving Cosmo Canyon and my old mate Boogie. And we head to Nibelheim, which I believe is Cloud and Tifa's hometown. And basically, as soon as you get in, Barrett starts picking holes in Cloud's story from Calm. Because he can't believe that the town has basically been rebuilt from burning down. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I believe it's been rebuilt and populated by Shinra employees.
Yeah, it's a full-scale cover-up.
Because if you walk around the houses, no one knows who Cloud is. No.
That's right, yeah. Q and Non will be having a field day with this conspiracy.
It certainly links straight back into, Barrett's having a crack at Cloud. What's Tifa got to say about the matter?
Doesn't this prove Cloud's right? And if so, where was Tifa? I'm sure she was somewhere. My limited knowledge is hurting me here, but Tifa can't back him up on any of this, or was she with her dad somewhere wearing that cowboy hat? What was going on with her?
What do you mean by Cloud was right?
About the fire and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this stage, Barrett's saying there can't have been a fire. This town's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
That's his thoughts. And Cloud, we haven't even reached Cloud's ultimate confusion yet, but yeah, he's a bit miffed. But I can't remember Tifa's point of view. Perhaps she just didn't have one again.
I didn't have Tifa with me, but I can't remember if you split off and you can see all your characters at this point. But so we obviously know that there are aspects of Cloud's story that is right or correct, but there's huge holes in the story. I think this podcast is going to basically cover Cloud losing his shit.
The hardest part is, obviously, we're all a little bit further advanced, you get so many cracks at Cloud's backstory that trying to remember what it is at each point is actually quite hard as well.
Yeah.
Because he goes through, as far as I can think of, 3 different Nibelheim flashbacks that keep changing what actually happened.
Yeah. So basically, there are all those shaking people in black hoods who are saying reunion, Sephiroth, and we do find out shortly that they are meeting for a reunion with Sephiroth or wanting a reunion with Sephiroth.
Mm.
Yeah, the reunion. Yep, big stuff.
Fantastic items you get from these dudes, though.
Yeah. Some of them, at least. Just dropping stuff.
Just dropping turbo ethers and megalixirs, no worries.
So Sephiroth was known to have like the number 1 tattoo, and they've all got different numbers tattooed on them, or they know that they are different numbers. And you can go into the Shinra Mansion at this point. I'm sure this is where you picked up your favourite character, Sean Vincent.
Oh, I've got a few Shinra Mansion beefs.
Right.
Me too.
Unlocking that safe with those
mate.
codes, absolute nightmare. Although Odin is a mint summon materia, I'm a big fan. I think I remember saying I had thoughts on Vincent and the Turks, and he certainly stands head and shoulders above the Turks.
He was a previous Turk, wasn't he?
He was a Turk, yeah, and he quit the Turks and fell in love, or maybe you get a bit of that backstory later as well about his wife and all that nonsense with Hojo.
Lucretia?
Yeah.
Lucretia, can I just jump in on ripping the mansion? Or we gonna
get stuck in.
So that safe thing. So you've got 4 dials that you need to turn to access the safe. So it might be left 24, right 48 or whatever it is, right? And you can read the first 3 dials, and there was there's no chance of doing this without a walkthrough. No chance. On the screen it says dial 1, dial 2, dial 3, and there's just no dial 4. It's just a blank space. To get dial 4, you have to actually click on the blank space. It says, it was written in invisible ink. There's no rhyme or reason for that whatsoever. It's just impossible to do without a walkthrough.
I've never even found any of the numbers in the mansion. I've just gone straight to the walkthrough.
Oh,
I found them all.
Really?
Yeah.
Why's the best?
You know I love a grind.
Yeah, and that's just a real tough place. So that was my only my first game over as well, when I broke open the safe. And those swinging guys are just an absolute pain in the ass. Possibly my least favorite regular enemies in the whole game. They take forever to kill. They give you basically no EXP or no AP. Just a terrible, terrible part of the game, I should say.
I hate the mansion battles.
Nothing is worse than the blazing fireball.
Ha. I've actually written this quote for a Mount Nebel part, but I think it applies to the safe scene. It is very indicative of the game and its grind-like elements. I was saving that for the shoot chores to get all the different materia, but it applies here.
So, does Vincent believe that Lucretia's dead, or because he talks about like his sin not saving Lucretia, that's why she's not dead.
Is she not dead?
Is she?
I thought she was dead. Doesn't he talk to her ghost later or something?
Oh.
I can't help you on the Lucretia front. I never had Vincent as part. Well, he was part of my party. He's not partaken in one fight.
Barrett, tactful as always, says, "So you started sleeping in a box? Give me a break."
He's right. What's he up to? Vincent's insane.
There is some great creepy piano music. I know we've touched on the soundtrack a little bit, but there's some fantastic creepy piano music going on when you're talking to Vincent. It's brilliant.
I honestly think, from memory, that playing this as a child, I was scared of the Shinra Mansion.
Oh, those bats down there.
Yeah, it gives a little like a PG Resident Evil vibe at times.
Didn't play many Resident Evil games, to be fair.
Neither. I was too scared.
So you make your way over Mount Nebel, where there is a Mako reactor.
Sorry, just to drop back a little bit. When you're exploring the mansion, you do find out that Genova is a calamity from the skies.
Yeah. Is Sephiroth in the dungeon?
Yeah.
of the mansion.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and he says about he does that thing where he chucks something at Cloud, hits him on the head,
and it's a materia.
Yeah, it's a materia, and he does that that Sephiroth / Superman just storm off trick, arms extended almost.
So you're still chasing. I thought that we had pretty much finished our Sephiroth chase, but there's a lot longer to go. So you head over Mount Nebel. There's
one thing on Mount Nebel. Mount Nebel kind of was the part of the game where the most times you're going on paths and you press left, even though the path clearly goes left, but you have to press down or right or something. There's some paths that make no sense. You got to press down to go up or left to go right. So many of those at Mount Nebel. Another very annoying part of the game.
I just wrote down in my notes that Mount Nebel is niggly.
Very niggly.
Mount Nebel has the steepest rope bridge in the history of the world also. So once you get through Mount Nebel, it brings you to Rocket Town. And basically it's called Rocket Town because it has a giant rocket sticking out of the sky. So that's like the remnants of Shinra's space program that was aborted after a failed launch. And Captain Cid, as you will soon meet, was the captain of that ship. This is one of my favorite parts of the game. I love Rocket Town.
I didn't remember how much of a jerk Cid is.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll get to some of his decisions as we depart Rocket Town, but he really miffed me in many ways.
Yeah, there's lots more town people who want me to hear their story, but I refuse. There's a bald git who's just standing there staring at the old rocket, and literally any time of the game you go back, it's just that same bald git looking at the rocket.
He loves that rocket.
So once you look through and ransack some houses, you end up going to Cid and Shera's. Now, I'd love to know, before we get into the details of Cid and Shera's relationship, what is their relationship?
Well, I did think she was his wife, but I think that might not be the case.
I definitely assumed husband and wife. Am I wrong?
Well, I got the impression this time through that she was part of the original launch team and blames herself for the failed launch. So she decided to dedicate her life to making it up to Cid.
That's what I get. I always thought they were, probably didn't think they were married, that they were just living together. But this time it's almost just like they live in the same house, like flatmates.
She's got to get out of there. Thank God he leaves.
Definitely just looked it up, and apparently they're not married. They just live together. So you're right. And definitely assumed that they were married the entire time.
So when you go in there, you actually don't meet Cid. You meet Shera, and she sends you to meet the captain, which we find out is Cid. Straight off calls Shera a dumbass, basically explaining to you why the space program got shut down. I don't know if you noticed in Cid's house, there's a AK-47 just lying in one of the rooms.
It's probably more advantageous to his battles than his spear.
Trident. The first thing he says to Shera is lots of swear words. Shera, what are you, blind? We got guests. Go make him some tea. More swear words.
I really like how Rufus is coming to town and Cid's fizzing because he's like, the space program is back, baby. It turns out they just want to steal his plane. Which adds a lot of credence to my theory that there's 4 flying vehicles in this world.
Yeah, good theory. Great theory.
And that theory makes Simon's thoughts on Tifa's martial arts master even more. His feats are amazing.
Yeah, incredible.
How does he do it? Barrett has the gall to say to Cid, to say what's up with Cid's attitude. Although I've softened on Barrett by now, he's just a softie, and he's just got the planet's best interests at heart.
He's the old badass fighter with a heart of gold.
Classic.
So I think you do see a flashback of Cid reaming out Shera.
On the rocket, right?
Yeah. I think he says even the moon would get tired waiting for your ass. And Sid at this point, I think in the flashbacks, getting ready to go into space without a spacesuit on or anything, which I found quite interesting.
I feel like the game is trying to get you to understand why Cid is mad at Shera, but he still just comes off as a jerk.
Yes. And as you know, I don't want to reveal anything, but he's not even right.
Well, and we find out like Shera's like willing to die for the launch. She and obviously Cid ends up aborting the mission because Shera is still working on oxygen tank 8 or something. He basically saves Shera so that he can just continue treating her like shit.
But she was right, though.
Yeah, she was. We find out later.
Yeah, we find out later that she was right. So she's a real, sad story for poor old Shera.
Yeah, I hope she gets out of Rocket Town after Cid departs.
They never get out. Those poor women.
Well, how would she get anywhere? I guess she'll have to go catch herself a chocobo.
The tiny Bronco doesn't fly anymore.
No.
But now here comes me old mate, the bumbling fool, Palmer.
All I've got written here is Palmer being a boss is odd.
Yeah. Palmer arrives with Rufus, and they're there to take the tiny Bronco. But as you mentioned earlier, Sean, Cid thinks they are restarting the space program. Palmer asks Shera for a tea with honey, sugar, and lard. And Rufus is he just wants the tiny Bronco. That Palmer fight is fantastic.
Has to be the easiest boss, quote unquote boss in the whole game, surely.
Palmer's demise at the end of that battle is maybe one of the greatest things that happen in the game.
That's so good. Take us through it, Bob.
Well, look, my memory's hazy, but you're still in the battle graphics when he gets run over. Am I correct?
By a Mack truck.
He's sort of running around and he just gets absolutely steamrolled.
Oh, it's so good. I was actually watching, he does that weird, like shaking his bottom or like smacking his bottom or something like that at you as well. And in the middle of the battle was like, definitely had flashbacks to the Super Bowl halftime show on 50 Cent. It was very similar. Good stuff from Palmer.
Yeah, so he dances hilariously, pulls a moon, and then gets hit by a truck. So you take the tiny Bronco because you don't want Rufus to get it, and you end up crash landing. And do you crash land on Wutai's continent or Wutai?
You're close to it at least, because
or you crash land in the water.
You crash land in the water because you can't go anywhere else, and you can only go in the shallow water, right? Because it was at this point that I popped up to the Bone Village, picked myself up the Kajata materia. Yeah. And you find out that you need a keystone to get to the Temple of Ancients, and that old mate Dio has it at the Gold Saucer. And you also find out that the Temple of Ancients holds the ultimate destruction materia.
Did you find that out from just going to Bone Village?
Yeah, a few yarns at Bone Village, mate.
We'll get to Bone Village soon. I like the way those excavators, the cut of those excavators jib.
Mm. Well, what's next for you? Because I've got maybe. Is the next part of your plan Gold Saucer?
Yeah, I think I went to Gold Saucer from
Right.
there. Well, no, actually, I think maybe I went to Wutai, but seeing as Simon cannot get Yuffie/Yuffie.
Nah, fuck Simon, I want to talk about Wutai.
All right, well, give us your little Wutai.
Well, before I went to Wutai, I did a little more grinding in Medeal. Great for XP and AP. Then I went to Wutai. Look, I'll only take a minute at a time. You know how I feel about Yuffie, and this is why. On the way to Wutai, you discover that Yuffie has stolen a lot of your materia. When you get there, you go into the bar, lo and behold, Turks on vacay.
I love that.
Oh, I love it too. And they're just like, hey, I know we're supposed to get you, but we're on vacation, so just get out of the bar.
They're on vacation wearing their suits.
Yeah, looking great, as ever. There's all sorts of weird secret passages and stuff in Wutai you have to find and go through to get materia, and I hated that. Yuffie gives a sob story about how Wutai used to be this great warrior town, and after the war with Shinra, they became pacifists or whatever, and it sucks. And I just revel in how Cloud doesn't give a shit. Like, just cool story, Yuffie. Give back my fucking materia. Also, notably, what Simon wouldn't have been able to do is Wutai is where you claim the Turtle's Paradise rewards at the bar.
Yeah, see, I didn't do that.
It's just a whole bunch of, it's like a power source, a speed source. It's all sorts of source things. And then Yuffie and Eleanor get captured by none other than the great Don Corneo. He's back, baby.
I completely forgot that he showed up there, eh?
Yes, same. And he has them weirdly tied to the side of a mountain. Like, you can only save one. And then you get this kind of mint Turks avalanche brief truce to save the crew. And I think maybe that might be the end of Don.
Yeah, they pretty much just throw him off the cliff, don't they?
Yeah, he gets what he deserves. I pray that you guys either play or at least watch the Honeybee and stuff from the remake, because he is feral, man. It's gross, and it really just... Oh,
Did you play the remake, Sean?
Have you guys heard about the remake? That's all I wanted to say about Wutai.
I liked Wutai because obviously playing with Yuffie, sorry, I was able to do the pagoda and take on Shake and all those other guys, so I could level her up, get her limit break up nice and high.
Yeah, I also did that. Sure.
I went on a desperate jaunt to Wutai just so I could be on this conversation, but sadly you just get blocked off at the caves if you don't have Yuffie with you.
Really?
Yep.
She's still glitching out in the forest, punching the air for you, isn't she?
Yeah, not fun.
I'm kind of glad that that's her face in at least one of our games.
Well, you do go to the Gold Saucer and meet old mate Dio and his undies, and he gives you the keystone just because you go into Battle Square and you show you're such a great fighter. And you find out that old Cait She, or is it Cat She?
Cat She?
Sorry, I get all the names wrong. Comes out and says there's something wrong with the cable car. So you have to stay the night in, what's that place? It's like a ghost.
The haunted house. The haunted hotel. Yeah.
They're all hanging out there in the morning, like almost like they're hungover from a big night, all real depressed.
Yeah. Get a bit of we get a bit of bit of a catch up on things, a disposition dump.
Yep.
Funnily enough, Vincent and Cat haven't a clue because they just joined. Barrett says,
I just like Vincent joining. There's some reason, right? And then you find out later that for Cat, there's a reasonable reason. Cid comes on this journey on a whim.
he just wants to beat up bad guys.
He's just chafed about the space program. Sorry, as you were.
While they were around the Ghost Motel with the disposition dump. Is it disposition dump?
Exposition.
Definitely exposition.
Oh, jeez. Barrett just like, I've been here the whole time and I don't have a clue what's happening. I just thought, yeah, it's just classic. I'm glad Barrett's not the only one because I'm lost. But you have to, this is where the moment we've all been building for, and there's the date. Do you know can you remember who you dated?
I definitely know who I dated.
Yeah, I definitely dated Red 13 or Red 11 as we like to call him.
You got Red 11.
I didn't know you could.
I don't think you can you?
You're not? It was that long ago, I can't remember. But, maybe it was Aerith because I knew she was going to die and I didn't want to impact the relationship between the others.
Yeah.
Sure, there's some budding Final Fantasy players that don't know that Aerith dies.
I got Aerith. I was pretty gutted. I wanted Barrett.
Oh, you didn't do enough bromance chores.
Yeah.
In the walkthroughs that I've read, you kind of have to really mug the chicks off.
I thought I did.
Yeah, I got Tifa. That's what I wanted. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, you're a romance guy. I'd forgotten there's that hilarious play that you do.
Yeah.
And there's just like lots of spinning on and off the stage.
The play kind of like, I can't remember exactly what happens, but there's a bit of the actual story in it, right? Like just subtle hints of things and game-related stuff. I'm sure that's what I was thinking at the time. Can't remember what happened though. Can't validate it. Don't call me out.
There's a dragon and a princess, and at one point you can ask for the princess's measurements. So there is one creep in there somewhere, I reckon, in the making of this game, because you can go into Tifa's undie drawer and you can ask for the princess's measurements. During the date, not sure how the gondola is working, but the cable car isn't.
Yeah. It's good for romance.
After a while, Cat takes the keystone, and you have to chase them between the squares. And they end up throwing it to the keystone, or throws the keystone to the chopper. And this is where we find out that Cat is just a toy cat being controlled by someone at Shinra.
Yeah. Oh,
what a great storyline!
Doesn't he pipe in Marlene's voice because just so that Cloud doesn't kill them?
Yeah. That just basically like blackmails the group and then continues just hang out with them for another God knows how long.
Yeah, that's awful. That's really tough to stomach.
It's not Squaresoft's finest moment.
You head to the temple of the ancients.
Oh yeah, you do. Nice Mayan look from the outside and a slightly more Egyptian feel on the inside.
Definitely good call.
Yeah, Aerith lies flat before uttering the words of the Gainsborough. And you see Sung, who's injured.
He's had a tough time, hasn't he?
Yeah, tough.
Yeah, there was a great line as they walk in from Cloud. He says, "Sing or sung of the Turks." Like, met him so many times, clearly from the Turks. And there's no other songs that we know of on the game. It's just an outrageously good line.
Sung mentions that Aerith in the end wasn't the key. The president was wrong. Aerith ends up crying over Sung.
Yeah, they grew up together. He knows her as well as anybody.
Yeah, he was almost like her minder.
The Munchausen syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's heaps of puzzles in there. So,
oh, bro,
I love the puzzles. I love them.
I hate the labyrinth.
Is the labyrinth? Is that the labyrinth? I wouldn't strictly call that a puzzle. But I also hate the labyrinth.
Well, the labyrinth was where. That's the first one, and there's the weird nyum wizards that you have to.
He's battling around the nyum wizard.
Is he the item store?
HP MP restored.
Yeah, right. And you can also buy stuff off him, can't you?
Yeah.
And he's a save point?
Yeah. He's a save point. I'm not sure if he's always a save point. Maybe he is, but there are definitely times where he is a save point. The boulders, for example, he's definitely a save point.
The Well of Knowledge.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that purple pool?
It's... I genuinely did research on it and it's already gone from my mind, but it's like
knowledge from the ancients or something, eh?
Yeah, and Aerith can't quite understand it or something, but she kind of gets a message from it that something bad's about to happen, right?
Yeah. There's the clock puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
A good little clock puzzle, that.
Yeah. Worth falling down into one of those whole room things, because some of them might have, I can't remember if it's like there's items in there or...
There's good items. Yeah, I remember doing it and thinking I was really great at it because I did it really quickly, but actually I realized later that was not the good thing to do it really quickly because you can get lots of items. The other great thing about that is that it has the Roman numeral 4 with 4 eyes.
Oh, really?
I noticed that.
IV.
Yeah. Classic Mayan Egyptian Roman numerals.
If you fall down, you can get like a weapon, the nail bat.
Yeah, the nail bat, which is seemingly completely pointless, but I still wanted to get it.
Yeah.
And then the last puzzle is the cave puzzle where you're following the nyum wizard through again.
Carved that up, absolutely carved it up.
I used a walkthrough and still spent ages on it.
Did not use a walkthrough, did it in about 4 or 5 minutes. It was crazy. I've never been so competent at anything in Final Fantasy before in my life, and never again.
I just blindly ran through caves and jumped down ledges until it happened.
Bloody worked.
Simon, stop hammering that key.
Sorry, mate.
Especially when you're talking, because then we definitely, it's definitely going to be on the podcast.
That's the podcast version of shaking your fist at the screen.
We'll keep that in. And then you run into Sephiroth at some Egyptian murals.
Yeah, I really like the mural room. Everything that goes on in there.
Is Meteor?
It's a good room.
Meteor is on the mural.
Yeah.
Which is the ultimate destruction materia. You summon a meteor from space to wipe out the Earth. And Sephiroth gives his plan here.
What's his plan, Sean?
Sephiroth's plan is he's learnt that when the Earth is hurting, it channels the life stream energy to heal it. Now, he believes that if he hurts the Earth enough and goes into the life stream, the life stream will become part of him, he will become part of it, and it'll make him effectively a god. Now, this is something I mentioned to you earlier, Sam, but I don't know if we learn this here or now, so I might be dipping into spoiler territory. But this isn't Sephiroth.
Spoil away.
My understanding is, please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if I'm 100% right here, Sephiroth is still in the live stream from the incident at the Nibelheim reactor. This is a projection or a manifestation. What I don't quite understand is Sephiroth controlling it, or is it actually Jenova?
Because he's flashing heaps in the scene. He's like,
yeah, and he flies through walls, and I think generally speaking, this whole way, it hasn't been the original Sephiroth. It's some sort of projection, or so obviously it can materialize because he knocks people over and stuff like that, but it's not actually him.
I think J.K. Rowling was a big Final Fantasy VII fan.
Surely. Might explain some of her extreme views.
Don't mention the views.
Oh, sorry. This is not a political podcast.
I think you're right, Sean, because there's a lot of materializing going on. And keeps appearing. Cloud is seemingly losing his shit. And I think for somehow is the black materia the temple itself?
Yes.
I just don't quite grasp that.
So the idea is, in order to actually turn it into the materia that you can use, someone has to use the controls inside the temple, shrinking it to its original materia size. But you can only do it from inside, so it takes a sacrifice. Now,
sacrificial lamb, as it were.
Yeah, I suspect the ancients, the Cetra, thought this was a great way to keep it safe. But really, we know it's not that hard to convince an idiot to sacrifice them for your cause. And I reckon if things hadn't panned out the way they did, wouldn't have taken much for Sephiroth / Jenova to get Cloud to do it.
No. Well, as we see soon. Because once the temple disappears, Sephiroth's like levitating above the crater. And Cloud.
It's worth noting that I think we're supposed to feel a sense of something for Cait Sith, who says, "I'll stay and sacrifice myself." It's like, boss, you're a robot. You're not even here. You're the ideal. You're made for this job. But everyone's like sad. It's like, what? He's not real.
Cloud just willingly gives it to Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, look, for the 80th time, I'll just mention the Harry Potter Voldemort similarities.
Yeah, it comes up soon again too.
Yeah. Got some theories on that at this point. I don't know. I don't know if I'm right or not. But we know that Cloud has Jenova cells in him, right?
Yes.
And it seems that either Jenova or Sephiroth seems to have some sort of power over all these clones because they're all trying to gather for this reunion. So I reckon it's the Jenova cells in them. That's how they can maintain this control over Cloud.
Makes sense. Much like the Horcruxes, or the part of the soul that's in Harry's body.
I just want the listeners to know that Simon's muted and he's on the move, but I can lip read, and I'm pretty sure he just said, "Go to bed now."
Great parenting, that.
Yeah. Get to bed, Marlene. Bar's closed.
As if my kids would listen to that.
I did skip over the part where I think you're in the temple and Aerith gets Cait to see how compatible her and Cloud are. And I think Cat says, "This isn't good. Poor Tifa."
Ah.
So there you go, Sean, you girl.
Yeah. I wonder if that changes depending on your disposition or not. I can't remember what was said for me. I think it might have been that. That rings a bell. But at this point, Cait Sith is full of shit.
Yeah. I definitely also thought that this was a huge scene that everybody dreads near the end of disc 1. Don't know why I'm pretending to not spoil it when I already have, but so I was just building, because I haven't obviously played it for so long, I was building up, just waiting for it to happen, and then it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was going to happen there, but I forgot that you go to the northern continent.
Yeah. And also, was there also a part with the sleeping forest and the bone village? Like, is the excavation
We're about
part
to get to that, because like Cloud has like a breakdown and watches himself beating up on Aerith. And Cloud blacks out and he has a vision of Aerith saying goodbye to him, and says that she has to go to the city of the ancients to stop Sephiroth. And when Cloud comes to, is he in Gongaga?
Yeah, he's in Gongaga.
Back with Zack Fair's parents. And he's pretty much breaking down. He doesn't want to see Sephiroth again. Barrett's calling him a goddamn jackass.
Oh, look, the amount of manning up that he's been requested to do here wouldn't go down well in 2022.
No, his monologue about depression makes me think he doesn't understand mental illness.
He probably doesn't.
And like I went to the Bone Village. The only reason I went to the Bone Village is because I was just kind of wandering around, and I think it was because I went to Midgar, and you can't get into Midgar anymore at this point in the game. Yeah. And some guy said outside of Midgar, and he says that he lost the key on a bone mission. Is that how you also went there?
You get the Sector 5 key or the Sector 6 key or something.
Yeah, that was good. That made sense, because I think sometimes in the game, it seems like you just have to randomly go around the world map until you stumble upon the part that will move the game forward. Move the plot forward, at least.
Those rare moments when the Turks haven't given you everything you need.
Yeah. So that was quite cool. That I actually, it was a clue that I could kind of figure out myself with my limited intellect. So that was quite good.
Question: do those 4-pixel characters pull off the excavation animation?
Oh mate, that was bad time. I've just talked about how I figured that out for myself going to the Bone Village, and now I'm going to tell you I spent 20 minutes looking for the Lunar Heart because I didn't realize there was an upper level that you could go to. I was just like so frustrated. All the guys that were the diggers were looking directly into the wall on the
Yeah.
I was so angry, because I was in the spot without all pointing at. I didn't even know there was an upper level, so. We lost a lot of good gil out there.
When you chase around, you've already got it, Sean Kajata, at this point. But you chase that around in the is that the Sleeping Forest where Aerith has gone through there to get to the Forgotten Capital?
Yeah.
When you get to the Forgotten Capital, the music changes to this like haunting.
It's like eerie.
It's awesome, and it just fits it's like beautiful imagery around the Forgotten Capital. I really, really enjoy this part, apart from the sadness about to come up. So I don't even want to get to this part, but you get to Aerith on like a sort of a stage. And there's another music change, more haunting. And Cloud is like, again, having an out-of-body experience, and he gets out his sword. And you're controlling him, I think, as well at this point.
Yeah, you kind of have to fight against it, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, like you press. Well, I'm not pressing circle, but you're pressing OK, and it's like he's raising the sword.
Yeah.
And again, this is where I've written it's real Voldemort / Harry comparisons. And then there's a beautiful cutscene.
Phenomenal.
Of Sephiroth driving the sword through Aerith. And the materia, is it white materia, bounces out of her hair into the water.
Holy.
Another music change.
To the Aerith theme.
Yes.
Aerith falls into Cloud's arms. Sephiroth goes on about the planet and the promised land. Cloud doesn't want a bar of it. And Sephiroth says as he leaves, Cloud ... you are ... a puppet? Is that where he calls him a puppet?
Yeah, he calls him a puppet.
Thoughts on Aerith's death? Now, how you felt at the time?
Childhood trauma, eh?
Yeah, there's not much to be said that hasn't already been said. Just that I thought Cloud placing the dead body into the water or life stream or whatever that was, I thought that was actually this time for me more powerful than the actual death. I thought that was that where she just slowly sinks down. It was beautiful.
I've got a question about that scene. He walks out to the middle and he gets about waist deep. And he lets her go. And she sinks like 20, 30 feet. And I'm starting to wonder, what the hell was Cloud standing on?
I was not thinking about that at the time. I had tears in my eyes.
But also, not knowing that this was going to happen when I played this game as a child, and I feel like everyone knows that Aerith dies. This is something that is anyone who has a clue about this game. This is a focal point. It's the main moment of the game, I reckon.
Yep.
And I just sort of think, although it's a different thing that happens, that must have been what it was like for people who saw Empire Strikes Back for the first time, finding out about Darth Vader being Luke's father. You know, like everyone knows Darth Vader and Luke's family connections. Like people who don't like Star Wars know this, right? But there was this time when nobody knew that was coming. I'm pretty sure at the premiere, Harrison Ford whispered to Mark Hamill, "I can't believe you didn't tell me, you son of a bitch."
It's we're nearly at the end of disc 1.
Yeah.
So Genova, I think maybe this is the only time in the game. I'm not sure, but it's not battle music. It's still Aerith's theme over the battle.
Is this Genova Life?
Not Genova Finger like before.
One of the 80 Genova body parts
you get like Genova. You get Genova Death. This is definitely Genova Life. There's a Genova Birth.
So after Cloud lays Aerith to rest, he does admit to the group he doesn't understand himself anymore, and he fears there's something terrible inside waiting to be unleashed, which is true because he nearly killed Aerith. And he doesn't know how Aerith was intending to stop Sephiroth, but basically he has no choice but try to prevent him from using that black materia. So as he heads out, I think he hears his voice, the voice of Sephiroth beckoning him to head north into the snowfields.
Perhaps to the reunion.
That moment, the Aerith's death, was number 10 saddest video game moment ever on unleashthegamer.com. What is ahead of that? I do not know.
Travesty.
That's ridiculous.
So I think we'll call it there. We are going to head north into the snowfield soon. We still haven't got to the huge materia yet, but we will get to that next, and we're going to meet some weapons soon as well.
Love the weapons.
Here's a teaser for you. Snowboarding minigame. Overrated.
Whoa. It's my favorite Gold Saucer game.
Yep, so we will sign off there and see you next time.
All right.
Cheers.
Peace.